Vietnam was considered a colony of the French Empire. But after the defeat of the French in Europe in 1940, the Japanese came in and they occupying the whole territory of Vietnam.
My first memory is of bombing. The Japanese, when they took over Nam Ding, we ran and hid in the shelter, and when we came out, a bullet grazed the forehead of the woman who was carrying me. The blood trickled down on me. When we got home and turned on the lights, my parents thought I had been shot because I was covered with blood.
There was a question what the international powers would do for Vietnam. President Roosevelt at that time had the idea of giving a temporary status for Vietnam.
This document from FDR to Cordell Hull in early 1944, I think, speaks to the president's low opinion of what the French had done in Indochina. I think it speaks to what I think is a powerful theme, namely his belief that America risked being on the wrong side of history if it supported a French return. Franklin Roosevelt died. The French did show a determination to come back into Indochina. Harry Truman, he just didn't feel as strongly about this, and in effect did not stand in the way of this French return, which really gains steam in 1945, precisely at the moment that Ho Chi Minh is also embarking on a path to achieve independence for his country.
When the communists took the power in 1945, they tried to destroy all the nationalists. They arrest the nationalists, they kidnap the nationalists, they kill the nationalists when they can. And that is the beginning of the war between nationalists and communists. And so we are not happy with the arrival of the communists to power, but we are in bad shape by then.
So the OSS in 1945 became very involved in working to defeat the Japanese, who had taken control of Indochina early in the war, and they worked alongside the Viet Minh, which was Ho Chi Minh's revolutionary organization. Archimedes Patty is one of the OSS agents, and like, to my knowledge, every single one of them, of the OSS people, he was impressed by Ho Chi Minh. He liked him. And he pens this cable on September 2nd, 1945, precisely the moment when Ho, in Hanoi, declares independence. Borrowing, by the way, from the American Declaration of Independence in a kind of naked play for support from Washington. Patty basically says, we should work with this guy. And in effect, Patty is saying we make a mistake if we choose instead to side with the French. Most officials said, this guy is a communist, therefore we cannot work with him. And because we also need French support in Europe, which is key to prevent communism from triumphing in France, we should also work with the French in Indochina.
Two of my brothers were actually at Ba Ding Square when Ho Chi Minh declared independence. They were very excited because they were just carried along by the psychology of the crowd. We were finally free from French domination. My father was ambivalent. He was happy that we had independence, but he was very afraid of the Viet Minh because he knew they were communists, or they had a program to transform Vietnamese society.
What Ho Chi Minh proceeded to do is to send a series of letters to President Truman, hoping for American support, because he believed that America could be his ally. And what's powerful about this is the degree to which he held this conviction. It's not really until the late 1940s that he finally says, guess I can't count on the Americans.
My oldest sister, Thang, had no ambivalence whatsoever. She and her husband were supporters of the Viet Minh. Not only would the Viet Minh liberate Vietnam from French domination, but the Viet Minh would also transform society in a way that the poor and the oppressed people would be liberated as well. In fact, she and her husband left the French zone to go into the mountains to live under the Viet Minh. One time there were a French convoy passing through Hanoi, and my father said, well, look at them, they're so strong. How are you going to defeat them? She said, don't be fooled. They might look strong, but they don't have the support of the people. We'll win.